Hello everyone, welcome to the next lecture in our Java programming language, where we are going to learn in this lecture about method overloading. We already learned about what actually a method is in our previous video. I will be providing you the link for that on the here you can get the link and you can learn about what actually a method is. So for your understanding, I'll just revise the definition of a method. Normally, method is nothing but we'll be grouping a block, some statements which are called as a block of statements, and those block of statements can be executed by simply giving them one name, and whenever you want to execute those block of statements, we can call those block of statements with that method name by using your object. Now, what is the use of that method is it provides a feature called reusability. Right, and we also learned about what actually a constructor is, and we observed the difference between the constructor and method also. And in the last video we learned about constructor overloading, and this video we will be learning about method overloading. Now what actually method is, you all are familiar with that. Now coming back to this method overloading, normally what is the use of this method overloading is it supports Java's best feature, polymorphism. We have highlighted some features of Java programming language, and about that video I will be providing you the link here. You can go through those features. One of those Java features is polymorphism. Now by using this method overloading, we are going to achieve that polymorphism. Now before going to learn about this method overloading, let us see what actually this polymorphism is. Polymorphism is nothing but which can perform a single action in different ways. So we have a thing which will be acting in different ways. Let us take a simple example of plus operator, where this plus operator can be used for addition of two numbers, and the same plus operator can be used to represent your positive numbers also, and the same plus operator can be used for concatenation symbol also, right? So we where this plus symbol which is performing different actions, so we can say it is called as polymorphism. Now here also in our Java programming language we have this option where the polymorphism name is given like poly is nothing but, the polymorphism name has been derived from a Latin word where poly is nothing but many, morph is nothing but forms. So in total polymorphism is nothing but many forms. So we are having different forms with the same thing, we have different forms. Right now there are two types of polymorphism in our Java programming language: compile time polymorphism and runtime polymorphism. Now compile time polymorphism can be achieved by our method overloading option, which we are going to learn in this lecture, and runtime polymorphism is achieved by using method overloading, and about this method overloading we are going to learn at the time of inheritance concept. So as of now, let us skip this one. Let us not learn about method overloading, method overriding. We will be learning about method overloading only. So method overloading is nothing but compile time polymorphism. Now compile time polymorphism is also called as static or early binding. Okay, so whenever we want to achieve compile time polymorphism, I am repeating one more time, compile time polymorphism can be achieved by using our method overloading concept. Do you remember we already learned about constructor overloading? Now what is nothing but constructor overloading? There we learned like we can have more than one constructor. Obviously the constructor name should be equal to class name. We can have more than one constructor, but there should be difference in the parameter list. But the same thing will be applied to your method overloading also. Now what is a method overloading is nothing but it will allow us to have multiple methods with the same name in a same class. In the same class we used to write one method with one name. Now we can have another method with the same name in the same class, but there should be difference in the parameters, same like your constructor. Right, so method overloading is technique which allows us to declare multiple methods with the same name but different in the parameters list within the same class. I am talking about the same class. Okay, now how the compiler will be differentiating? The compiler can differentiate by observing the number of arguments, that means change in the number of arguments or change in the data type of the arguments also. You can have two methods with the same name, provided that one method may have two arguments and the other method can have three arguments with the same name, or else we can have both the methods with the same number of arguments, provided that one with have one data type and the other arguments are of different data types. We are going to learn with examples also. Okay, so if two or more methods are having the same name and same parameter list of the same data type, but if there is a difference in the written type, then that is not at all considered as your overloading. I'll repeat once again. Let us consider you have two methods. Two methods have two parameters only, and both the methods are accepting the parameters as int only. But if you are showing the difference, like the return type of one method is int, the return type of the other method is void, then it is not considered as an overloading. Overloading can be considered only in the change in the number of arguments or change in the data type of the arguments only. Make a note of that one, all of you. So we can say we have two types of method overloading. First one is the different data types of the arguments or different in the number of arguments only. So let us learn in detail about these two techniques. Okay, so the first one is different data types in the arguments. So changing the data types of the argument. So if you have two methods and the two methods are of the same name and the two methods are having the same number of arguments, but there is a difference in the data type, then how it will be working, I'll show you. Okay, so let us consider one class called calculate, and in the main method I am creating one object of this calculate. So whenever an object is created, a constructor will be called. If you have not written any constructor, a default constructor will be called, and that will be initializing all the instance variables to 0. Now I am calling a method called sum. Observe here, sum, here the sum will be passing two arguments. So that means I need to have a method whose name is sum, and it should accept two integer values, right? So this is what the sum, and it is accepting two integer values, and it will be performing the operation of adding these two values, whatever values you are passing. We are calling cal dot sum passing 85. 85 will be passed, and you will be adding those two values. Suppose you can have one more method, see, with the same name. Observe here, the name is same, but there is a difference, like the two arguments are of float type. That means we can have one more method in our program. Okay, and both the methods methods are of same name. Observe here, and the number of arguments are also same. Here it is 2 and here it is 2. But what is the difference we are showing? We are showing the difference in the data type of the arguments. Here both are of integer type, here both are of float type. So now whenever you are passing float values, then the relative float, this method will be called. If you are passing both integer value, then this will be called. Right? Now there will not be any ambiguity. So the compiler can understand according to the parameters, data types, and respective method will be called. So if you run this program, you can observe here we have some method which is overloaded two times. We have some method which is overloaded two times, where in the first method it is accepting two integer arguments, and in the second method it is accepting two float arguments. Right? So this is about method overloading, first type, where we are changing the data type of the arguments. Now we have a second approach where method overloading by changing the number of arguments. Okay, so to understand this one, let us take, we are creating an object of this demo, and if you observe, I am calling a method called multiply, which is taking two arguments 8 and 5. Okay, now I need to have a method called multiply which should take two arguments 8 and 5, and it has been, we have written a logic to perform the multiplication, and you will be getting this output. Now if you see, I am writing one more statement where it is accepting three arguments. So if you are accepting three arguments, that is also okay, provided that you need to have one more method with the same name, and the arguments in this, it is accepting three arguments. Now if you observe here, we have multiply method which is overloaded twice, but here the first method is accepting two arguments and the second method is accepting three arguments. This is the second type of method overloading, where we are changing the number of arguments. Okay, now if you run this program, you will be getting this output, like 8 into 5 you will be getting that output, and if you run this program, you will be getting an output like 4 into 6 into 2. Okay, so this is how method overloading can be achieved by changing the arguments, or by changing the number of arguments, or the first type is by changing the data type of the arguments. Okay, so let us run this program once and check whether we are getting the output or not. Now what we need to do, let us call a demo, class demo, and in the class demo I am writing a method called void show. Just for our understanding, I am writing I am taking two variables, int a, int b, okay, and here I am writing system.out.println. I am taking a different example, okay, system.out.println. I am printing a value, okay, and then I will be printing b value also, okay. Let me copy this and I'll write b value also. So whatever values you pass there, that will be simply printed here. That is what our approach here. Okay, and then I will be having one more method, void, with the same name, because we are talking about method overloading. So what we'll do is, let us pass two characters, okay, char a and char b. So because I want to show you the difference, observe here we are passing, we are having two methods, both are having two arguments, but here it is accepting integer values and here it is accepting the character values. Okay, so I am passing a equal to a. So to understand this one, let us add one more statement here. What we'll do is show with int values, okay. Just for our understanding, let us write like this, and we'll have one more statement here. What is that? B. Okay, are you understanding, all of you? I'll add one more output statement here, where I'll add show method with the char values, okay. And this is the end of your method, this one. So observe here we have written two methods, both the methods are having the same name, but the difference is in the data type of the arguments. So let us write our main method. And how the methods will be called, you all know about string handling functions. So how the methods will be called, first we need to create the object of that, right? So let me create the object as d equal to new demo, and I am not talking about any constructors here. And then d dot, I am calling method show, and I am passing the values like 10, 20, two integer values will be passing, and then I am passing the value d dot show of characters, let me call x, because it is a character we need to put it in the single quotes, and y. Okay, so now shall we run this program? And before running this program, we need to save this one, and the file name should be equal to your class name, which includes the main method. I am telling the same thing in all the videos. Okay, so let us run this program. Okay, now if you run this program, what we need to do, check here, we need to move to that path, and in that path we need to first compile our program, java c demo.java. If any errors are there, that will be displayed. I think, yeah, I have closed the main method here, but I forgot to close my class, right? So let us run this program. No errors are there, so let us execute our program to check our output. You can check here, we got show with integer values 10 and 20, show with char values x and y. So we are successful in calling the same method two times with the same object, provided that if you are passing integer values, integer parameters method will be called. If you are passing characters, then characters method will be called. Right? Now we have the other way. This is the first way, where we are showing the difference in the data types of the arguments. Suppose if you want, you can have difference in the arguments also. Observe here, I am passing 3 arguments. Okay, so that means I need to add one more output statement here. What I am doing, I am displaying I am passing 3 arguments. Now whether it is passing, whether it is calling that or not, let us see. So show with 2 values, show with 3 values. Okay, so here I need to pass 3 arguments. So let us pass those 3 arguments. All are integer values only, because we have declared all as integer only. Right, now let us compile this, save this. We need to compile this, right, and then we need to run this. Now you can check here, we got show with whenever we are passing two values, it is calling this method, and then it is displaying, and then it is displaying. If you see here, it is calling, whenever you are calling like this, it is calling this method with two arguments, and it is displaying two values a and b. We got 10 and 20. And whenever you are passing three arguments, it is calling this method, and you are getting three outputs. So there is no confusion to the compiler which method to call, right? Depending upon the number of arguments or depending upon the data type, the compiler can understand. Even though we have two methods with the same name, it will call its respective method. Got it, all of you? So this is how method overloading can be achieved. But whenever you are talking about method overloading, you need to understand one thing. What is the thing is, there is a concept called type promotion. Type promotion is nothing but one data type or value can be converted to the another data type, which will be done automatically. Now what happens is, if you see, character data can be converted to integer, byte can be converted to short. This will be done automatically, and int can be converted to double, long can be converted to double, float. This can be done automatically if you have not achieved, or if you have not passed the particular argument. But in the method definition you have written, let us consider in the method, at the time of calling the method you have passed the integer value, but in the method definition you are accepting long, then there is no mistake, it will automatically convert the integer value to long value. How that can be done, I will show you in the previous slides, but you all need to understand this type of type promotion. So to understand this one, let us take a simple example, class example, where I am creating an object of that class in the main method, and we have one method called sum, which is taking two arguments. One is of integer value and the other one is of long value, long integer. And you have another method with the same name, where there is a difference, this one and this one. Here it is accepting two values and here it is accepting three values. Now whenever you call with the object sum of 2020, observe here, these two are integers, but we have a method, one with integer and the other one with long. If you see the previous slide, integer can be automatically promoted to long, so there is no confusion to the compiler. The second literal whatever we have, that will be promoted to long, and it will call this method whenever you are writing like this. Okay, now if you write obj dot sum of three parameters, obviously it will be calling this method. There is no confusion for that. But in this case only, if both are integer values, but here it is accepting one int and one float, one long, then the second parameter will be automatically promoted to long according to the type promotion, whatever slide I have shown you earlier. So there is no confusion here. You will be getting an output of, because you are passing 20 and 20, those two will be added, and you will be getting an out, not added, those two out values will be displayed, 40 and 60 will be displayed, right? I will show you one more example. You can check here, I have taken both the arguments as int, and here both the arguments as long. So both the methods are of same name, but difference in the data type of the arguments. Both have two values only. Now whenever you are calling obj.sum of 2020, if you are passing, then the sum will call. Here no type promotion will be happening. What it will do, both are integer values and we have a method with both the integer values, then it will be invoking this method only. It will not call this one. Type promotion will not be done here, because we have a method which accepts both the integer values, right? So in this case you will be getting an output of 2020. I'll show you one more example. See this example, one with integer, one with long. This is one method, and this is same method, but the first parameter is long and the second parameter is integer. Observe here. Now whenever you are calling a sum method, both of integer values, then there is an ambiguity to the compiler which method to be called, because if the compiler wants to call this method, this second number should be promoted to long int, or else if it has to call this method, first parameter has to be converted to long int. So there is a ambiguity here, so the compiler will be throwing an error saying like compile time error. So you need to be more careful while passing the parameters and while declaring the parameters in your method definition. But automatically type promotion will be done, but in case of type promotion you need to take care of these simple things. So this is not method overloading because there is an ambiguity here for the compiler. Okay, so this is about method overloading, how it can be achieved in our Java programming language. Same like your constructor overloading, method overloading will also allow us to have more than one method with the same name. And this is one technique in our polymorphism, which is called as compile time polymorphism. Method overloading allows us to have compile time polymorphism, where more than one method with the same name can be achieved, provided there will be we are showing the difference in one of the two ways. One way is the difference in the method, difference in the data type values of the arguments, or difference in the number of arguments. Okay, I hope you all are clear with this concept. Let us all meet in our next lecture. Until then, thank you all of you.